When God first called me to be a pastor, I had this perfect vision of what it was going to be like. But a whole bunch of years later, I can tell you it has been nothing like I expected. Today, I want to tell you about one of my first home visits as the lead pastor of Deeper Waters FMC, and just give you a little insight into what it's like doing pastor life in small town West Virginia. Now, you may not believe the story, but I think you will get a kick out of it. It is story time today on Puddle Road.
I was a few months into my new role as lead pastor of Deeper Waters, trying to get my feet wet, figure out where I belong and what I'm supposed to be doing. And there was this couple, they were sort of shut in, they couldn't get out to church, and I decided that I was going to go visit them. And so with nothing but an address, some general directions, and my navigatory prowess, I jumped in my little Hyundai Elantra and I headed toward their house. And as I'm going in the direction I think I should be going, I noticed something. The worse the road got, the more sparse the houses around me became. And eventually, the paved road became a gravel road, which then became a dirt road. And as I'm going back through this holler, that's what we call them in West Virginia, trying to find this house, I thought that I had just completely gotten myself lost. But finally, I noticed to my left, sort of up a hill a little ways, a house that I thought was the one. Now, there was no driveway, there was nowhere to pull off, so I just took my car and eased off the dirt road as much as I could, right up against the hill to try to let other cars pass. Turned off my car, opened the door, scooted out as best I could, shut the door, and gave it a good locking out there in the middle of nowhere. As I got out of the car, I looked across the dirt road and I just happened to notice another house right across the street. It was your stereotypical backwoods West Virginia house. It was the kind of house that people who aren't from West Virginia think of when they think of West Virginia. It had the cars up on blocks in the yard. It had appliances on the porch. It had rebel flags over the windows. You can imagine. Not a very inviting place, and I was really glad that I was going to the house up the hill and not the house across the street. So I set off climbing up the hill, and as I'm walking toward the house, I'm about halfway between the house and my car with nothing in between but space and grass, when all of a sudden I find myself with a dog on each leg. I don't know where they came from. I don't know how they got there, but there was a dog on either side. There was a medium-sized dog on one leg with his nose pressed right up against me. And there was a little ankle biter dog on the other leg with his nose pressed right up against my ankle. And there I stand between the house and the car and nowhere to go. So I just very slowly started to move, test the boundaries. I got myself turned around, and the dogs never moved. And there I am. They have me pinned. And I thought, well, I can manage this okay. They're not that big of dogs. Until I just sensed something in the air. Something wasn't right. And I looked up in the general direction of the uninviting house across the dirt road, and I just happened to notice, coming my direction at full speed, with murder in its eyes, this big, muscular pit bull charging. And so there I stand between the house and my car, a dog on either leg, coming dead at me. And I thought to myself in that moment, so this is how it ends. These two suckers set me up, and this one is going to take me out. And I did two things in that moment. The first thing I did was I started to pray. And the second thing I did was that I dropped back, because I was going to get one good shot in before that thing sunk its teeth into my jugular. So I'm standing there, getting ready to go, planning my shot. The dog is charging, and it gets to me. And just as it comes up to my leg, that pit bull spun around and started rubbing its butt all over my leg. And so now I'm standing out there in the middle of nowhere. Woo, 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 ah! And I'm thinking, what in the world is happening to my life? And this just went on. It just kept happening, going on and on. Nothing changed. And so I said, I got to do something. So I took my chances. I reached down, because these two are just barking. They're not doing anything. So I just reached down and I put my hand on that pit bull's back. And as soon as my hand touched its back, it flopped on the ground, rolled over, showed me its belly, and just started while I'm rubbing its belly. And so now we've got whoa, 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 as I'm rubbing this dog's belly. And I'm standing there thinking, surely there has got to be a camera somewhere. Somebody has set me up, because this can't be real life. Well, finally, after what seemed like forever, I heard a screen door creak and slam, and somebody from the house I was going to came running around the side of the house, screaming at the dogs. The dogs, all three of them, jumped up, scattered in different directions, and there I am, standing there in the middle of nowhere thinking, how in the world did I get myself here? And the answer is that is exactly where God wanted me to be.